a good break point for us where with so much going on academically for these guys, to have kind of a period in the season where things slow down a little bit and we're not, traveling 3, 4 hours away and having to get early bus rides or traveling overnight. This is a good point in the season for those guys to have to be able to not unwind, but be able to kind of relax a little bit and focus on, academics. Because at the end of the day, if their academics aren't there, they're not going to be able to wrestle. So this is the perfect time for us in the season to have a little bit of a less strenuous schedule.
It's not even comparable, really. Christmas break and Thanksgiving break, where just you have all this free time, you get practice over with in the morning, and then you have all day to do whatever you want. And now it's just kind of like you gotta study. You have a little bit of free time, but just not too much.
Yeah, I love the overnight trips, but yeah, I mean it's real fun and good wrestling, and you get to socialize and all that good stuff. But having that weekend off is definitely good, just because I know a lot of us have injuries. My knees are killing me, and it felt good to have a day off and be able to recover a little bit, because it's getting midway through the season and you're getting bumps and bruises and stuff.
And this is the point in the season where we start. Everyone talks about peaking at the end of the season, and this is kind of that point in the season where we look to start making that steady climb. One thing that we talk about with all our guys is that everyone's going to have, peaks and valleys throughout the season. They're going to have weekends where they're just on fire and they're, wrestling at the top of their game, and then the next weekend they may struggle a little bit and have kind of an off weekend. And the whole goal is to make sure that everybody's firing on all cylinders and at the top of their game when February 21st rolls around, and then hopefully for the following weeks after that. So at this point in the season, a lot of the talking is kind of, it's not done, but there's not as much going on. There's more work towards sharpening skills and working towards that peak for the postseason.
There are ups and downs all throughout the season, and there are some really deep low points that you go through, and you just got to make sure you peak at the right time. When you're on a high when you're going into the divisions and the MOCs.
Yeah, I think we're all doing pretty well, especially in the wrestling aspect of it, but you can't just focus on the wrestling, because a lot of wrestling is your mindset. So I think one of the determining factors about how good we're going to do in D2s and MOCs is just having our minds in the right place and going in with the right mindset.
Yeah, the season is definitely going by pretty quickly. There's a month left, and it's definitely pushing us and, me and the rest of the guys to work harder in practice, especially the seniors, because we have like 30 days until that Division II meet, and then we have MOCs and New England's after that.
Consistency as far as those weekends go. We talked about peaks and valleys, and we need to see the separation between those peaks and valleys become less and less as the weeks go on. As long as they can, perform at a high level consistently week in and week out from this point forward, then we'll be in good shape. It's when we start having really good weekends and then follow it up with, kind of a bad match, and, that you would probably see more so at the beginning of the season. As long as they can recover and rebound and be ready to go for that next match and do it consistently from this point forward, that'll be a good sign that they're on the right track to peak.
In terms of competition, it's really nothing out of the ordinary. There's 2 pretty decent New York teams that are there, and a few upper-level Vermont teams, but other than that, it's nothing special, but it's definitely going to be fun, and there'll definitely be some
Vermont was good. Peru was there, and who got second? I think, I don't know, but yeah, New York team, Peru's always good, and then some team from Maine that we know is good, and they were placers at New England's, I think, last year, if I can remember. And so, third was respectable. We were down a wrestler, as we usually are for sickness or whatever else. But, yeah, definitely being in the mix with the Peru teams. And I mean, it doesn't really matter for us, these tournaments, to win them. I mean, we'd obviously like to win them, but getting top 3 consistently is good.
We've been, I think, top 4 at every tournament so far this year, and definitely shows that we're consistent. I think at the end of the season, it's just we need to be consistent at a little bit of a higher level than what we're consistent at right now. Now, granted, we're wrestling, some pretty tough teams at these tournaments, so that certainly plays a factor in it. But if we can, continue to make that climb and peak at the right time, and they can still keep that consistency, then good things should follow.
When I went in there, I felt different. I didn't know if it was. I thought it was just because we hadn't been at tournaments in a while, and it felt like I wasn't used to being back in the all day in a gym environment. But I definitely felt more confident, actually, even knowing that that Peru kid who was nasty. He's the #1 in New York right now. Even having him in my weight, there wasn't as much intimidation, I guess. Just being, and I think that might have been from going down to Virginia and seeing those guys, just knowing how good can be out there. Knowing that I've seen the best of the best, there's not much else to fear. So, yeah, it helped confidence.
We're definitely building some confidence. I think down there, the biggest lesson that those guys learned was that they can compete at a higher level than they probably thought they were capable of. So going into tournaments around here, the consistency is definitely, or the confidence is definitely much higher, just based on the fact that they wrestled some, really, really tough kids that they may not see consistently around here down there.
Good partner. Find a good partner. Here. Come around your way. Find a good partner. You're on left, right through. Left, right through. Ready? Go.
There's kind of two sides to that. It's frustrating because it takes away an opportunity for those guys to make weight, through a wrestling workout, and it also takes away one more practice that we could have had prior to that state meet. So, we want to take advantage of as much time as we have on the mat, and when we're losing practices because of weather, it definitely hurts. And I guess the third piece to add to that is having that consistency and routine goes a long way. When it's broken up, and it throws the guys off a little bit, where they can't quite gain their bearings as fast when they're having 2 practices off in the middle of the week. Whereas, when we're practicing every day, they fall into that routine and that habit, and it kind of keeps the flow of the season moving for us. So, it's one of those things. I mean, it's good for the opportunity to rest and recover, but at the same time, when we're losing those opportunities, I'm not going to say it would hurt us in the end, but they build on each other, they compound on each other for sure.
Yeah, that was definitely good seeing where everyone was at. I know for a lot of those weights, everyone's like really close. Like the scores were close for a lot of teams. Well, just individual matchups. It was kind of cool seeing our weight, our 170s. Wyatt Farwell, he wrestled the first seed from MOCs, and he lost 10-5. The kid's ranked first in MOCs, which is outstanding, and I think it's really cool that we get those matchups and have our guys versus state-ranked kids.